Good morning, namaste. How are you? Tired? It is tough to study dance. And today, as we are studying this paper 7 on creativity and modern dance, and which are subjects that you are not very familiar with. We did the modern dance in USA part 1, and now we are going into 2, because that is the country where the whole idea of modern dance started, developed and flourished. It has from 1905 to 2015-16, it has so many thoughts and processes that has gone into that we need to understand, because India is also in the area of modern dance, creativity, and unless you know your historical past and its areas that are sensible to us, we cannot go to future. The past will, and other countries, you learn from that. So we go ahead in the second part, and the social and artistic upheavals of the late 1960s and 70s signal even more radical departures for modern dance. Modern dance today is much more sophisticated, both in technique and technology, than the dance begun by the pioneers. Current pioneers in the modern dance find a much softer dividing line between modern dance and ballet. In truth, ballet, modern and contemporary companies today have come to regard fluency in all genres of dance as important to their work, to their study. Today's modern dance has become a fusion of multiple dance genres, as demonstrated by choreographers Mark Morris, Ohad Naharin and Shen Wei. Mark Morris is most influenced by George Balanchine and Merce Cunningham, both great stalwarts and both great creators and with drastically diverse styles. He formed the Mark Morris Company dance group in 1980 and the White Oak Dance Project with Mikhail Baryshnikov in 1990. He is known as one of the greatest living modern dance choreographers, a dancer of extraordinary power, and an unpredictable, imaginative theatre artist. One of his most popular works is The Hard Nut, which is Mark Morris's faithful interpretation of ETA. Hoffman's The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. It is set in 1960s and features sets inspired by graphic comic books and wildly colorful period costumes. The choreography is described as quirky and humorous despite the story's dark themes. Mark Morris's ballet work is included in the repertory of the San Francisco Ballet, American Ballet Theatre, Paris Opera Ballet, Boston Ballet, Pacific Northwest Ballet, Dutch National Ballet, New Zealand Ballet, Houston Ballet and the Royal Ballet. Morris is noted for his sophisticated musicality and has been described as undeviating in his devotion to music. The Washington Post called Mark Morris our Mozart of the modern times and modern dance. The Los Angeles Times called him intensely musical, deceptively cerebral, insinuatingly sensuous, and fabulously funky. The company of dancers is reinforced by Morris's use of live music in every performance. What a privilege. Ohad Naharin began dancing at the age of 22 with Bathsheba Dance Company, which was founded in 1964 by Martha Graham and Baroness Bathsheba de Rothschild. In 75, Naharin left Israel to study in New York with Martha Graham, Juilliard and the School of American Ballet. He choreographed and presented his first dances in 1980. In 1990, Naharin was appointed the artistic director of the Bathsheba Dance Company. His movement style is often described as liquid. Naharin's signature style and technique, Gaga, is distinguished by stunning, flexible limbs and spines, deeply grounded movement, explosive burst, and vitality. Dancers work without a mirror, feeling the movement from within. This is something very similar to what we in India are doing for ages, that we have the Shruti and Smriti, and we need to, whenever we practice, we feel the movement. So far, almost no schools have mirrors on the wall. There are two avenues for this technique, one for the dancers who will perform and one for non-dancers who are learning the technique for themselves. In his technique, Naharin uses a series of words that signify particular ways to initiate movement and the parts of the body involved in initiating and feeling that movement, which establishes a flow throughout the entire body that allows complete fluidity no matter where the movement is initiated. Naharin's works have been commissioned by the Frankfurt Ballet, Opéra National de Paris, Grand Theatre de Geneva, Sydney Dance Company, Lyon Opera Ballet, Les Grands Ballets Canadiens, Rambat Dance Company, Compagnia Nacional de Danza, Cedar Lake Contemporary Ballet, Pittsburgh Ballet Theatre, and Hubbard Street Dance, Chicago. Shen Wai, founder and artistic director of Shen Wai Dance Arts, is a choreographer who combines Eastern and Western influences and multiple artistic disciplines to create a bold and visually arresting form of dance theatre. Through choreographed movements that are precise and inventive, he and his dancers perform highly stylized steps and gestures inspired by Western dance traditions as well as Chinese opera, acrobatics, and the martial arts. He incorporates vivid colors, striking costumes, designs, and imaginative use of space into his theatrical works that are kinetic paintings. Wai began his career by performing opera with the Hunan State Xian Opera Company. In 1991, he became a founding member, dancer, and choreographer of Guangdong Modern Dance Company, the first such company in China. Wai moved to New York in 1995 and was approached to present his work by the American Dance Festival. His work has subsequently appeared worldwide at prestigious dance festivals and venues, and he was commissioned as one of the principal choreographers of the 2008 Beijing Olympics opening ceremonies. Among his most recent works are Near the Terrace Part 1, 2000, Folding, 2000, Behind Resonance, 2001, Near the Terrace Part 2, 2001, Rite of Spring, 2003, Connect Transfer, 2004, Second Visit to the Empress, 2005, Map, 2005, Repart 1, 2006, and Repart 2, 7. For each dance and opera work created in his company, Shen Wai also creates the sets, costumes, and makeup designs. Wai has received numerous awards. He is a 2007 MacArthur Genius and United States Artists Fellow. He has received a John Simon Guggenheim Fellowship, a New York Foundation for the Arts Fellowship, and the American Dance Festival's Ben Sommer Fellowship. Wai also received the Nijinsky Award for Emerging Choreographer in 2004, Austria's 2005 Helpman Award for Best Ballet or Dance Work, and 2006 Les Étoiles du Ballet Palais Festival in Cannes, France. He has received commissions from the American Dance Festival, Lincoln Center Festival, the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Art, New York City Opera, and Alvin Ailey Dance Theatre too. Willie T. Jones and Arnie Zen Dance Company was founded and formed in 1983 with the elements of contact improvisation, personal narrative, social commentary, text, pure movement, and more. Many works draws on African American history, including Fondly Do We Hope, Fervently Do We Pray. It is on US President Abraham Lincoln. Jones tackles difficult topics, still here and explores survival in the faces of AIDS, which claims Zen's life. Early modern dance defined itself in opposition to ballet. Students were often forbidden from taking ballet classes. However, over the decades, modern dance and ballet began to influence each other. Modern dancers frequently study ballet techniques, and ballet choreographers frequently discard point shoes and incorporate characteristic movement of modern dance that articulates the torso and works with rather than fights gravity. In some cases, it is hard to categorize a choreographer's work. Sometimes the term modern ballet is used to label those. Ballet choreographers who are heavily influenced by the style and spirit of modern dance, both genres have been enriched by borrowing from each other. In addition, major modern dance companies like Twyla Tharp, Mark Morris, and Trisha Brown frequently create works for ballets and opera companies. In the past, modern dancers like Hanya Holm and Tamaris choreographed for Broadway. Today, modern dance is having a renewed impact on Broadway as choreographers like Twyla Tharp, Moving Out, Singing in the Rain, Garth Fagan, The Lion King, Carol Armitage, Hair and Passing Stranger, and Bill T. Jones, Spring Awakening, and Feta are creating award-winning choreography for musicals. Today, many of the groundbreaking choreographers and established companies of modern dance, that is Martha Graham, Merce Cunningham, Paul Taylor, Bill T. Jones and Arnie Zen, Twyla Tharp, Mark Morris, Trisha Brown, and Alvin Ailey continue to exert their influence. Hundreds of American modern dance choreographers now create works in USA and abroad, variously continuing in the footsteps of their mentors or striking out to innovate in ever surprisingly ways. Notable dance makers who are now adding to the American modern dance story includes Susan Marshall, Sarah Michelson, Alonzo King, Rainey Harris, Ralph Lemont, Bebe Miller, Lula Ashington, John Jaspers, David Russo, David Dorfman, Doug Veron, Abdel Salam, Valley Cardone, David Persona, Melissa Fenley, Carol Armitage, Elisa Monte, Annie B. Parsons, Ben Munisteri, Joe Good, Neil Greensburg, Margaret Jenkins, Stephens Pattioni, and many, many, many more. American modern dance makers toured the globe from and the forms beginning years in turn met, studied with, and incorporated ideas from masters of other cultures and traditions. In today's global environment, multinational interchange has accelerated, enriching the whole world of dance. Among the many influences on American dances are Buto from Japan, the dance theatre of German Spina Bausch, classical Indian dance such as Bharatanatyam, modern dance fusion of Ragamala music and dance theatre, Chinese dance such as the dance theatre of Shen Wei dance arts, and capoeira and other South American dance and movement forms. The New York City based choreographer who has established herself as a diverting offbeat creator triumphs by setting a series of dancing to the vocalizing of popular American singer Frank Sinatra. Hoary half-century old classical ballet troupe in San Francisco is rejuvenated by a dynamic young artistic director, an erstwhile dancer out of Middle America whose creative range encompasses everything from treatments of Shakespeare in dance to a gritty, uncompromising tribute to the American Indians. A legend in the dance world as performer, choreographer, and catalyst, sometimes it continues to improve and inspire members of her company and audiences alike as she enters her 10th decade. These are but three of the myriad faces in the dance world in the United States as the 1980s approach their midpoint. From 1980s to 2015, it is a time of continued expansion and development. For if Twyla Tharp, Michelle Swing, and Martha Graham represent anything, it is the joyous embracing eclecticism that has prevailed in dance in America since the mid-late 1960s. True, the excitement and electricity pervading all aspects of that cultural form are a story that is about now 4 decades, and yet that epic continues to evolve and intensify as dance becomes more accessible daily across the United States. There are few countries in the world today in which dance is more kinetic or more broad-based art than USA. Dance, of course, is an honored tradition in most lands, each of which boasts its national troupe or national style. In the United States, there is a multiplicity of styles and dance companies. Ballet and modern dance are thriving as never before. Two of the world's leading ballet ensembles, New York City Ballet and American Ballet Theatre, are based in New York City. Unlike the classical European troupe, which traditionally have to one style or another, these two American companies, as well as many others across the United States, mix it up. They are as likely as on any given evening to perform starkly modern works as they are to stage Giselle or Swan Lake. Close at the heels of these stellar ensembles is a host of other companies, most of which fall into two categories. They are either personal troupes, extension of their founders' inclinations and artistry, or resident professional companies in specific locales. The first grouping includes the Jeffrey Ballet, the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theatre, the Elliott Field and Twyla Tharp troupes, and Arthur Michel's Dance Theatre of Harlem, among the others. The second is exemplified by the San Francisco Ballet, the Pittsburgh Ballet, the Pennsylvania Ballet, and the Ballet West situation in Salt Lake City, Utah. The modern dance wing of this art form encompasses such noted choreographers and ensembles as Martha Graham, Merce Cunningham, Paul Taylor, Alvin Nicolai companies, Perspilobulus, a unique, unpredictable troupe that has gained many new fans in the past several years. The leading figures of modern dance, Graham, Cunningham and like have been around for years, and their formidable influence have evolved and been refined during this period. But there are some new faces on the scene, Laura Dean, Joyce Striffler and Trisha Brown amongst others. Among the more traditionally rooted companies, the faces are virtually all new and young. This naturally can be attributed in the part to the life cycle. George Balanchine's death in 1983 after a long illness was a blow to his company and to the dance world at large. Some months earlier, NYCB executives devised an artistic co-dictatorship that brought veteran Christopher Jeremy Robbins and the great city ballet dancer Peter Martins together to succeed ballet. As the matters have evolved, Robbins is dealing almost exclusively with artistic matters, choreographing, arranging festivals and working with the dancers and Martins. In addition to some impressive choreographing, is running the company on a day-to-day basis. The accession of Martins, still in his 30s, 50s, to a leadership role mirror what happened a couple of years earlier at American Ballet Theatre, when another European born dancer, Martins is from Denmark, Russian artist Mikhail Baryshnikov took over the artistic development of ABT. Misha continues to dance selectively. Martins retired in 1984 and has created a couple of choreographic pieces including full-length versions of Don Quixote and Cinderella to go with his Nutcracker, staged a few years ago. The arrival of a new generation of artistic directors at the helm of NYCB and ABT is a situation repeating itself across the United States. A host of former dancers with one of or the other of the two major companies is in charge these days in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Salt Lake City, Chicago and San Francisco. The work of Michael Smuin, an artistic director of the San Francisco Ballet, has been exemplary. His company has staged a continuing series of bold new works that he has devised, a number of which, including a full-length version of Shakespeare's The Tempest and a shorter work, Song for Devil Warriors, on a contemporary Indian theme, has been performed on television across the United States on public broadcasting station. Members of the company have already appeared at the White House as part of a series of recitals underscoring the core of young talent existing in the performing arts in America. It should be noted that the dramatic increase in the dance audience in the United States year after year has been fueled in recent many years by expanded dance programming on television. Rarely a week goes by when an hour of dance is not telecast in prime time nationwide. Various cable channels in the past couple of years have been adding several hours a week of dance programming to that figure. More than merely presenting classical ballets, such programming has served to introduce viewers who are familiar with dance to the disrespect style of Twyla Tharp and Alvin Nicolai, Merce Cunningham and Jeremy Robbins. Cunningham, Graham, More Lewis, San Francisco's Bella Livsky and newer talent Laura Dean are finding new enthusiastic audiences, attesting to the fact that modern dance is also in its prime. Recently, the US National Endowment for the Arts, chief conduit for government funding for the culture in the United States, committed itself foursquare to preserving that tradition by granting Martha Graham Dance Company $25,000 to be matched by the troupe on a one-to-one basis over the next year to film and preserve Graham's seminal choreography. It is an exciting development that pays tribute to dance as a tradition. But in the very recent times, along with the recession, a lot of funding to arts has cut, and that also has given a great blow to the development and sustenance of modern dance. But it's a phenomena which has affected all areas, not all of America, but the whole globe. In a mass culture, dance's pervasive influence and popularity also continue to be more evident today than in the recent years. A wave of movies has been rooted in dance, especially focusing on young people who, one way or the other, use dance as a vehicle to escape humdrum existence. Saturday Night Fever in the late 1970s was one of the first of that breed, followed in 1983 and 1984 by Flashdance and the Footloose, two of the most successful at the box office movies of those years. And as technology advances, bringing with it music, video cassettes, CDs, and now on IT and computer, dance has become an integral element in that medium. As such, it will always be leaping forward, dynamic, electric, ever-changing, as one hopes for the better, the dance. Thank you.